Hi, welcome to SCW Live once again for the Q&A. Thank you for joining us as always. It's always great to have you guys involved. Get your questions in nice and early. And I've got a very special guest with me today. And we're going to be talking more straight after this. So we're back once again then for SCW Live. Going to be answering your questions in the wrestling community, but I'm joined by a very special guest today from Wrestling by Waldridge. It's the one and only Aaron that's with us here today. Aaron, thank you for taking the time to come and join us. Welcome to the channel.
Oh, it's great to be here, man. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Yeah, exciting.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. Really do appreciate it indeed. And of course, make sure to go and check out Wrestling by Waldridge on YouTube. It's a fantastic channel. And just before we get our questions in, I'm just going to talk a bit about your channel just for a few minutes, if that's okay. Because what I really like about your channel also is that you're very detailed with everything. You usually do a nice top 5 matches of the week. And I love the way that you structure it. You've got like your stories, your psychology, excitement, everything that's put together about it. I really like the detail. What's your inspiration?
I just really like watching wrestling matches, to be honest, and I love giving match analysis. I'm really into this, like you said, the storytelling, the psychology aspects of wrestling, and it's just something that I've always wanted to express. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I tell you do it very, very well indeed. Now, make sure everyone goes and checks out because particularly the last week as well, there's some banger matches in there. So if you've not seen particularly stuff of like Ring of Honor, New Japan, there's not really a company you tend to miss by, is there?
No, I love all the wrestling companies, to be honest. I'm not really someone that sticks to one wrestling company. I just love to watch the best matches all across the board, to be honest. So, I mean, it takes up a lot of time, but it's nothing I'd rather do, to be honest. So,
it's what we love, man. It's what we love, a bit of pro wrestling, and that's what we're good to see. And just quickly, we've got a couple of people saying hello in the comments. Noob and Co saying hey to you as well. Thanks for checking out the live stream. And of course, Socky the Sock Puppet is with us as well. It's good to see one of Mick Foley's best friends with us here on the live stream. And we've got DW Wrestling as well saying let's go, lads. Let's go, DWE. Thank you for checking us out as well. And like I say, we'd like to have your questions in, so make sure to get involved here on SCW. And I'll leave this going across the bottom of the screen right now. And let's get some questions in. But a couple more people saying hello. Martin Carrillo is with us, as well as CP Styles. So yes, the forum is open for you guys. As soon as the questions come in, we will get started. But in the meantime, I'll just ask Aaron a couple more questions. So which company would you say that you do prefer most if you had to go to one wrestling show per week?
Here we go. I'd probably have to go with AEW. I do think that is the most consistent show. Obviously, NXT is great as well. It's probably definitely between the NXT and AEW. But I will admit, SmackDown is actually it's been impressing me a lot lately. The stuff with Roman Reigns is really great. It just carries all of SmackDown shows, doesn't it? But yeah, I'd probably go with AEW.
Yeah, I mean, there's some consistent shows then. Like you said, that's probably the top 3 I most enjoy watching currently every week. I mean, SmackDown, like you say, with Roman, the stuff there is absolutely incredible. As well as that, I mean, NXT, AEW, I mean, they do put on some consistent shows. And AEW, obviously watching that today, a great show. Once again, there's some banging matches in there. I'm sure 1 or 2 of them may even make your top 5 this weekend.
Yeah, they might do.
We have to keep an eye out for it. And I tell you what, you guys have to keep an eye out for the channel as well. Honestly, make sure to go and subscribe to Wrestling by Waldridge. I highly do recommend it. And we've got a couple of more comments in for us now. We've got our first question coming up second. But DWE, he just hit 50 subs on his brand new channel. And did you hear that Impact did big numbers from the pay-per-view? Yes, I read this today, actually. That Impact, apparently, Dave Meltzer, according to him, this was the highest show, or one of the highest shows. I think it was 4th, he said, since August of all pay-per-views. So incredible stuff. So there's me that's been criticizing Impact with the way that the Forbidden Door's been booked and the way things are, but it seems that Kenny Omega, that match, it was a draw. The way it was booked, the way it was done, it was done well enough. And did you enjoy Rebellion?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Rebellion. There were some great matches all across the card, to be honest. Obviously, the main event was brilliant. The X Division is always fantastic. That's probably one of the most consistent pieces of Impact, to be honest.
I would have to agree.
Yeah, I haven't seen the numbers, but I'm not too surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, well, let's hope it can only carry on from there. But it's a great shout there from DW. And just to say as well, congratulations on 50 subs on the new channel, because DWE Wrestling, as well as DW, he's got 2 channels. So definitely 2 channels worth going and checking out. Always great, positive, happy content. Honestly, highly recommend it. We've got a shout as well from Martin Career. What do you guys think Kenny Omega? Oh, sorry. Who do you guys think Kenny Omega will defend the Impact title if it's not Rich Swann? Now, that's a great question then to kick us off, and quite on a similar theme as well there. Aaron, who would you like to see Kenny Omega defend that title against first?
Oh, I reckon I'd probably like to see him against Sami Callihan. With the promos building up to the Rich Swann and Kenny Omega match, I think Callahan said a few words about Rich Swann, about defending Impact and everything. So I think he's quite a natural opponent for Kenny Omega. I would love to see Moose face Kenny Omega in the future as well. I love Moose. I think he's fantastic. So
yeah, that's 2 banging matches there. And you said with Sami Callihan, he's got great history with Rich Swann actually previously. They had a big rivalry from when they were growing up together. So that could actually link in very well. Like you said, the Moose was another one of saying that, that you don't lose that match, or you're going to have to answer to me. I guess that will be a natural progression. I think Eddie Edwards will be another great shout as well, be another great solid match from the Impact roster I'd like to see. And of course, I mean, the Forbidden Door seems to always be open, but Slammiversary is around the corner as well. And everything's going to change again. That's going to be the big buzz. Who from the WWE releases or who from the free market is going to come in? I think that's another exciting idea as well. A lot of people suggesting Samoa Joe as well, because he was heavily featured on that video package, along with Okada as well. Do we see Okada being a shout?
Could be. There are rumours going around, isn't there, that Okada might be making his way across the pond. So yeah, I'd love to see it. It would be amazing, either if it's Impact or AEW. That would be great to see.
I'd love it. Can you imagine 6 stars in the Impact Zone? Honestly, you'd love to see it, wouldn't you? You'd love to see it. That would be great. What a fantastic question. Keep the questions coming in, guys. We've got another one here from CP Styles. Who is your present day favourite British wrestler? Cameron, I'll let you go for that one first as well.
I'm a massive fan of Zack Sabre Jr. I know he's one of the main ones, but yeah, love him. I'm also a massive fan of Zach Gibson as well. Obviously part of the Grizzled Young Veterans from NXT. He is absolutely brilliant on the microphone. Every time, absolutely smashes that out the park.
Absolutely, indeed, yeah. I mean, I haven't got a shoe handy, but shoes off if you hate Gibson. It's a fantastic way. I've never seen anything like that with Zach Gibson. He's absolutely awesome. And like you say, he's an absolute killer on the mic. Every time he's there, he's awesome, isn't he? My personal has to be Will Ospreay. Again, I know it's one of the classic favourites, but I mean, Will Ospreay is just, he's special in the ring. And it's just so good to see him now. IWGP champion, heavyweight champion in New Japan. He's done incredible. It's really good to see him in that position. So he has to be my favourite. But I have to agree with you. Zack Sabre Jr., one of the best technical wrestlers in the world. Absolutely incredible. I love that. I love that style of wrestling as well. It's it's absolutely special. We've got Noob and Co. With a question now. What are your thoughts on Charlotte's new character? And do you think Charlotte is not going to hold a title with this new character? Now, that's an interesting question. Now, Charlotte did recently say that she doesn't need championships to be a champion. Does this sort of revolve around the idea of her being the opportunity? How do you feel?
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from with that. I don't think she needs a title. I mean, she's a big enough star, isn't she? I think Charlotte's one of the few females in the company where you can build a story around her and it doesn't have to be with the title, because she doesn't need elevating at all. Like she says, she is the opportunity. So
yeah, she is. Yeah. No, you're bang on about that. And the thing is, like, I mean, Charlotte Flair, she is that person that gets, in my opinion, she's the one that can get that superstar over, because it's great to see superstars win championships and get to certain positions. I feel until you've beaten Charlotte Flair, that's when you really get on that next level. And I know it's probably criminal to a lot of wrestling fans to hear that, but Charlotte is that good. And I mean, you've seen with the likes with Oscar, it was seen as a big journey to beat Charlotte Flair, which she's now done a couple of times. It has that sort of journey to it. And Rhea Ripley still needing that big victory. And I kind of feel that that's when she'll be feeling solidified on that main roster the second she gets that victory over Charlotte. So I think that's a great question that's asked from Noob there. But what I will say is that does she need a championship? No. Will she get a championship? No, in WWE? Yes. I'm going to stick out with that one. DWE Wrestling back with us now. Slammiversary is the only show I've watched after last year, and I did enjoy Hard to Kill as well. I like Slammiversary. It's just who they take from the April releases. Well, I'll tell you what, that leads to a good opinion there and good point there. I mean, it's Hard to Kill was a great pay-per-view, by the way. I love the triple threat match they had with the X Division as well. Fun enough, you mentioned it earlier in the video. I believe it was Chris Bay, Rohit Raju, and TJP, which absolutely, for me, stole the show. But Slammiversary is all about those April releases and who they can bring in. Which superstars do you think you could see coming in, Aaron?
I would love to see the Iconics in Impact. Obviously, they've started up the new women's tag division, haven't they?
Yeah.
I know Rachel Ellering and Jordan Grace have won it, but I think the Iconics would just slot right in there really well, flawlessly. Obviously, you want to see Samoa Joe anywhere. If that's Impact, great. Chelsea Green would also be great in Impact as well. I think a lot of people are saying Chelsea Green and AEW because Sean Spears is there, and obviously they are building up their women's division. But I think that is quite a stacked women's division at AEW. When you do take a look at all of the women they have, whereas Impact, they're maybe not so much, but it's a division that is building as well. So.
Absolutely. Well, the thing is, AEW, they're starting to really put that time with the time they've got for their shows each and every week. It feels there's more stories going for the women's division, and I would agree that they at the moment they probably could take one or two names, but I wouldn't say they need as many. Impact have kind of lost a couple of their names as of late. Taya Valkyrie going to NXT, a couple of others have left the roster as well. But to get someone like the Iconics in and Chelsea Green, I think would really help. I know Deonna Purrazzo really wants Chelsea Green and the Iconics a part of it, so that would be a great acquisition to see. And I mean, you mentioned Samoa Joe there. Yes, would love to see it. But I think as well, Steve Cutler, who's also, I don't know his real name or what he's gone out since leaving WWE, but he is someone that's is the real life partner of Deonna Purrazzo. So I can see him and Wesley Blake actually being a tag team in Impact. And if there's one area of the card that needs improving, it's the tag team division. So I could see them coming in. But we'll move on to our next question. And Martin Carrera with us now. It's very Impact, which we'd like to see at the start of this video. And what we saw at Rebellion from Trey Miguel defeating Sami Callihan, will that big victory set Trey to the main event in Impact once again? Aaron, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree with him, yeah. I could definitely see Trey Miguel going up to that main event scene. I think that's what they've got planned for him, to be honest. Ever since he came back, they've built him up nicely. And a win over Sami Callihan, that's nothing to laugh about. Sami Callihan's one of their biggest guys. So, yeah, I definitely think Miguel could get propelled to the main event scene. You never know. He could be one of the opponents for Omega down the line for a one-off.
That would be a great match, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a great worker, so to get that sort of opportunity, I think would be great to see. What I would say as well is that the storyline played to perfection. I would say with Trey Miguel and Sami Callihan, you look at it with the does Trey have the passion? A last man standing match. You saw the ideas with the wrench in the mouth and the table, which was upside down, which you got slammed on. That was quite brutal to watch, and he overcome it. I mean, even when you kind of with that sort of fun spot at the end there, where he was kind of hiding under the steel steps, where Sami thought there's no way he's getting out of this, but he'd gone under the ring. It was a lot of fun to watch that, so I really particularly enjoyed that, and I hope it's good things on the way for Trey Miguel, because I feel like Impact's got a lot of faith in him, so it would be good to see him. I think it'd make a great shout, Aaron, with the idea of Impact being a future opponent for Kenny Omega. Perhaps Slammiversary, would that work for you?
Yeah, it would work for me. You say, it would be a great match. So, and that was a great story with Callihan. That was probably one of the best stories going into Rebellion. So.
Yeah, I would agree. Let's go to DWE Wrestling. And it says, why do you think Braun has been getting a lot of hate? He's got it all, in his opinion. Well, just to take this one first, if you don't mind, Aaron, I agree. He does have it all. I think the problem is the creative direction for Braun Strowman. I think that if you look at Braun Strowman and say that, look at this guy back in 2017 when he was, flipping over, trucks and stuff that Roman Reigns and it was doing this larger than life monster that you just felt was unstoppable. And since he kind of went to 2018, where it felt like he was ready for the championship, WWE kind of delayed things for him. They paired him up with Nicholas at WrestleMania, which was a very odd decision to do. And then they've just done odd decisions with Braun ever since. And they've flipped him backwards from face to heel, almost like the Big Show, so many times. I think that's dropped a lot of the momentum. And I think the other small problem is if we look into the real recent booking, let's forget the Shane McMahon slime for the second. Let's go even a bit further back last year when he won the title at WrestleMania. That was a last-minute call. That was a last-minute decision. Braun wasn't meant to be there. And the momentum wasn't really right there for him at that time. So I think that's why he gets a lot of the hate. But I do agree with DW. I think he's got all the tools. I think if we can get our monster back, I think he could get back on track. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think they just need to turn him into a monster heel character. I think something that is also kind of hinder him a little bit is his promos just sound too scripted. They do come off a little awkward, I think, compared to like McIntyre's.
Mm.
So, maybe if they just give him a little more free reign and they did just turn him back into that monster heel, I think everyone would realize how great he is, because he is a fantastic wrestler in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's had some great matches since he started.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you look back. I know DW is a big fan actually of this. The Fatal Four Way back from SummerSlam
Exactly.
around the time that was from 2017 was amazing. Then he had the
Yeah,
match with Brock Lesnar long afterwards. I mean, there's been some great brawl matches and some great moments. And like you're saying, maybe just a little bit less talking, a little bit more monster, a little bit less choo choo. I think honestly, the sky could be the limit if they actually pushed Braun Strowman in the right direction. And yes, less slime from going forward. But I do agree with DWE. I think he's got all the tools. Let's hope that Braun can get back on track. I mean, could argue he is back on track. He's in a championship match at WrestleMania Backlash. How do you see Braun getting on with that before we go to the next question?
Well, like you said, the Fatal Four Way, which included Braun, was really good. And I do think a few people are sleeping on this triple threat match that is going to happen. I think it's going to be great. It's just going to be a big hoss fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's going to surprise a lot of people, to be honest. I think Braun's going to do a great job in that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think big dudes will be throwing big dudes around, and something that's we like to watch in pro wrestling is seeing big dudes get thrown around. So, yeah, I'm
Vince is
looking
going to
forward
love
to it. He is indeed, isn't he? He's going to be sitting there with his popcorn without question.
Yeah.
Big shout out as well to one of my best friends in the world from This Week in Metropolis. James, how you doing? Evening, gents. What are your thoughts on the Diamond Mine that was teased on this week's NXT? Oh, brilliant. Yeah, there was a nice little video package which looked to be MMA style, the way it was presented. It was only about a 30-second clip. And what is it going to lead to? Aaron, I'll get your thoughts first on this one.
Well, I've had a couple of different rumours whether people are unsure whether it's going to be a group or if it's actually going to be something hopefully not Raw Underground, but
Oh, God.
like an actual concept on NXT, like with cage fights and stuff like that. So, and maybe I think they had like 5 people in the ring, didn't they? Maybe they'll be the competitors for it. I don't know whether it's like going to be a separate division at all, but yeah, I'm excited. It's something different, isn't it? So.
Absolutely. I mean, it is going to be something different. It certainly looks exciting. The way it's presented, there's definitely something there. And I took the idea of the faction, and I must admit, I was going to do a video potentially of what the faction would be. But hey, we're live. We're here now. Why not? If you're tuned in, you're getting it now. I think that there is a chance that Parker Bordeaux could be involved for this. He seems to have that kind of physique, that style. I think that maybe you want to be presented in that fashion. Also, I looked at the idea of maybe Gable Stevenson. I know he's recently signed with NXT. And Rick Steiner's son as well, recently signed with NXT. Yeah. I imagine they probably have got the right sort of look and the right sort of attitude for this to be a part of a group. And this is a bit of an outside the box one, but I just keep seeing the diamond, and something keeps attracting me to the idea of Tessa Blanchard. What would you feel about her coming in?
I've had a lot of rumours. I would like it, to be honest. I know she's got quite a controversial past, but at the end of the day, she's a fantastic wrestler. She can only boost the division, to be honest. She can bring a sense of legitimacy to it. So I'd be all for it.
Yeah, I would be all for it as well. I think it would be awesome to see. DWE has said that he thinks that it's going to be like a Raw Underground, as you suggested. I suppose if it was to be like Raw Underground, if there was, I mean, my problem with Raw Underground, I wasn't a fan of it. I'm going to make that quite open now. Was mainly because I didn't feel like there was a rule set. I didn't feel there was a conclusive direction of what concluded as a win or a loss. Now, I understand someone being knocked out is a loss, but there was times where things were just broke up and it was like, that's it for this week and we're not doing any more. And certain things, there was not enough continuity of where things made sense for me. If it was to be made sense and it was presented in a cage like that, I think I would be more involved and more up for it. I mean, would you be up for like an MMA style?
Yeah, I'd be all for it, definitely. I think the idea of Raw Underground was actually quite good, but as you say, the rules kind of went out the window. It was always, I think Shane kind of took away from it a little bit. But yeah, I think it would be an interesting idea. I don't see why they shouldn't give it another go on NXT. Hopefully just try it a little bit differently.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. There. And Circle of Debate podcast. Actually, they first did say, "What's going on, brothers? How are you guys?" And thank you, Circle of Debate, for
All good.
checking out here because, yeah, we're very good. Thank you. We thank you for checking in with us as well. And it's a fantastic podcast. Also on YouTube, by the way. So another person, make sure to go and check out, subscribe to them right now. Always fantastic content. They've gone and said that the Diamond Mine Vision MMA style. They believe it's going to be a recent signee who was signed or a show like a concept. And I don't see Tessa Blanchard actually debuting, but you never know. So yeah, it seems to be sort of similar of the rumor kind of feeling that's going around with this, but we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we'll get more video packages over the next few weeks and we'll get a good idea of the direction of where it's going to go. But we'll move back to Noob and Co. Then. It says, what's next for Asuka if she loses at WrestleMania Backlash? Maybe Asuka should take some time off. Enough for Asuka to bring back the Asuka from NXT to face Charlotte at next year's WrestleMania. Would you be down for that?
Yeah, I'd definitely be down for it. They did sort of look like they were teasing going back to like the old Asuka. So yeah, if she does take a break and comes back even better, maybe looking like she was back in NXT, I'd be all for it.
Yeah, I'd be down for it as well. I think it'd be awesome to see. I think a break probably doesn't hurt. Like you said, we were kind of going to that direction with the Shayna Baszler stuff. I thought that maybe that could have been something that could work, but we kind of steered away from that. But we'll see what happens at WrestleMania Backlash. We'll see if she does get a break afterwards, because of course there was the incident with the tooth, and maybe it looks like she's going to need some potential time off to deal with that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's going to go down. I do think at the moment, if she's in the title match, though, I don't see her winning. Would you feel the same?
Yeah, definitely. I can't see her winning. Obviously, it's Rhea Ripley's first defense, isn't it? So they don't want to look in too weak. It's a shame because I think Asuka's title reign, a lot of people were quite down on it. So yeah, like you say, maybe some time away would be best for her to reset. Get everyone a little more excited to see her again.
Yeah, I think so. And the thing is as well, someone could fill the void in the meantime. It feels that Raw's heavily relied on the same faces for the time being. Now Rhea Ripley's come in. Maybe we can give, I say it every video, maybe Nikki Cross can get a bit of a push in WWE. It'd be great to see Nikki Cross get some sort of TV time. But Alexa Bliss is another one potentially that could come back onto into the ring now. It looks from next week that she will be. I wonder who her target will be. Maybe we can actually ask people in the comments below now who you think Alexa Bliss will be going for. Will she be going for the Raw Women's Championship? Will she be the one to write Oscar off TV, or should she go for someone else? Maybe Lily will just made her do it. Maybe that's what it's going to come down to. But Martin Carrera back with us now in the meantime. And now that Miro has split up from Kip Sabian, is Miro getting the push that he should have got since the beginning? Or will Sabian forgive Miro from his actions and they'll continue their relationship? Now, that's an interesting question there. I'll take this first if you don't mind. I'm hoping that this is going to be a split. I hope this is the idea that Miro is just not going to be, he's not going to be taking him. Almost, he's uncaged himself. We spoke about being a cage MMA style already. Miro's kind of got the look of a guy that could just, be the monster, could be the one that could lead all of AEW. But I have a feeling that he mentioned 2 championships recently, and this was going to come to a question that I was going to put on the bottom of the screen. So I think this is actually probably a good time to do so. So let me just quickly find that to throw that on here now. Is actually one superstar that seems to be actually beating bigger guys every single week at the moment is Darby Allin, finding a way to escape with the championship. I wonder if Miro is going to be the guy to take the TNT championship from Darby Allin. What are your thoughts with that?
Yeah, that's exactly my prediction. I think, I think Miro is definitely the one to challenge Darby for that title. Maybe at Double or Nothing, but I could definitely see him being the one to take that title off Darby Allin. As for Kip Sabian, I'm not actually sure they're going to break up. Looking at what happened on Dynamite, it looks just like, I'm not too sure whether Kip's going to sort of be around a little more. Hopefully they do break away. I think that would probably be best for Miro, but yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'm not too sure what to make of it.
No, I'm not either, to be honest. And I must admit that I kind of feel that the way that Kip was had with the wrist in the door, that looked really painful, and they could use that as an injury angle if they wanted to. Kip could come back as almost like a baby face if he wanted to. I don't know how well that would play out though, because I do think he does quite good work as a heel. Actually, Kip Sabian, I would say he's much better suited to the role with being that heel. But he's not going to get anything over Miro should it go that direction. But it's interesting to see. It's a great question there once again, and you would have to see what will come up. But I'm going to leave that on the bottom of the screen there for us and let us know, is it time for Darby Allin to drop that TNT championship? Are you happy watching the reign because now he's defending it every week? What would you like to see? It's interesting. We want to know your thoughts. But Don Mills is in the house. What's happening at SCW? Thank you, Don, for checking out the video. Please get involved with the Q&A. Any questions you've got, we'd love to hear from you. What you're thinking of the recent world of pro wrestling right now, and it could be vintage questions as well. We can go old school as well if you want to. DWE, is there a reason for AJ Styles and Omos not being on TV lately? Well, according to a few sources I've heard in places, I will say that apparently WWE hasn't had plans for AJ Styles and Omos, which is ridiculous if that's the case. But I have heard as well, AJ Styles apparently, and I've got this from WrestleMania UK today, reading on his Instagram page. Apparently, it said something about AJ Styles saying that one of them was clearly not medically cleared for WrestleMania, really, but it got through the match. And since then, that's why they've been off TV, and they should be on Raw this week. Now, I'm more of to believe this second one rather than the first one. I find it ridiculous that they don't have plans for them as tag team champions. The idea now that they're actually building a tag team division again in Raw. We've got the Viking Raiders. We seem to have Elias Jackson Riker, the New Day. We've got Cedric and Shelton Benjamin. And now we've got RK Bro, which could be a future. I think that's already made tag team when they've gone through a few of these established teams to actually have a chance of winning the belts from AJ and Omos. So for me, I'm more thinking it could be more injury related than anything else. But I'm going to pass this over to Aaron now. What are your thoughts?
It's just got to be injury. It's got to be injury related, hasn't it? Oh, I don't know why they put the tag titles on them just to not have anything for them for 3 weeks. No. But yeah, as I say, the tag division is building a lot lately. So if they are back next week, that'd be great to see, because I say you got Riddler Norton, which could be good contenders. You got the Viking Raiders. Yeah, there's a lot of teams for them. So hopefully it is just an injury and they are back next week.
I hope so, because I mean, the idea of AJ Styles, I mean, he's never took 3 weeks off of TV. Like, even if they don't have plans for him, they always find a place for him on the show. So the idea of them not having plans and not putting him on TV still, for me, doesn't quite add up. So for me, I'm going for the injury one if I had to guess DWE. And apparently, according to that, what I read on WrestleMania, says that they should be there next week, so we'll keep an eye out for them and what role they'll have on Monday Night Raw. If I had to predict, I'd say the Viking Raiders are likely to be the first challengers, potentially if there's time at the pay-per-view at WrestleMania Backlash, but if not, perhaps by Money in the Bank. Would you agree, Aaron?
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think it seems like it could be a likely direction. Noob and Co. I think Alexa is going after Rhea after the Raw Women's title because of what happened at the Royal Rumble. Great point. Of course, Rhea Ripley eliminated Alexa Bliss from the Royal Rumble before she could do the supernatural stuff, didn't she? And Bliss wasn't in the Rumble for that long. So technically, it was a bit embarrassing for Bliss. And also, when you look at things, I mean, you know, everyone else was scared of her in the ring at that time. It was only Rhea Ripley that was happy to want to be the nightmare. And let's be honest, we've got Alexa, we've got Lily, and we've got Rhea Ripley, who's meant to be the nightmare. Does that kind of go into storyline terms and fit nicely?
Yeah, I think so, doesn't it? All seems to make sense. It's Vince's wheelhouse, isn't it? Like all this Alexa Bliss character stuff. So I can definitely see him wanting to push her into the title picture as quickly as possible. And like Ace says, yeah, it all makes sense, doesn't it? After Rhea eliminated her at the Royal Rumble, so wouldn't be surprised if that does happen.
No, I wouldn't be either. And the thing is as well, if you look at the Fiend's history, they always pushed the Supernatural one very quick for the championship. So for Alexa, I wouldn't be surprised to see that either. And of course, I mean, that way, I mean, if Charlotte, she picked up a victory against Mandy Rose this week, but she lost to Oscar last week. If she doesn't need a championship, not going to be in that sort of run. Yeah, this could be something different. So maybe that could be fun to see. We'll have to see how it plays out. But Noob, great shout there, I have to say. We're going back to Impact Wrestling next now for this week in Metropolis. How far do you think Impact will push W. Morrissey? Great question, Aaron. I'll pass this one over to you.
Have they actually signed him?
He is signed, yes. He is actually signed on the dotted line. He's even on the Impact roster page now.
Oh, I think they'll push him straight to the top, I reckon, then. He's got a great look, hasn't he? If he's back on the straight and narrow, I can't see why they wouldn't push him to the top. There's some great matches that he can have in there. So yeah, it'd be good. Hopefully we get to see a little bit more of what he can do. We didn't get to see too much of him in that 8-man tag, but yeah, I can't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm quite happy with the idea and seeing how it's going to be for W. Morrissey because, I mean, I love the way Matt Striker said he's bitter. You know, in the way he had looked, the intensity, I felt that he's not in, you know, a 7-foot-tall man should not be wearing trunks to the ring, and he's not doing that anymore. He's now got the big black jeans on. Everything just looks like it fits well now with W. Morrissey. Big Cass looks like everything's switched on in the right places. If he's cleaned up the act as well as Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think that Morrissey could be going to the top. My only question is that I think they may slow burn it because of the fact that Kenny Omega is the current champion. I feel weird to see the heel versus heel dynamic at this particular point. But yeah, it's interesting to see. I think we've got a big future ahead for W. Morrissey. And yeah, let's see what Impact do with him. I think if he's on the show tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if he squashed one of our favorite baby faces.
Definitely.
CP Styles, then, if you had to book AEW Double or Nothing, what matches would be on the card? Wow. This is a great question, especially because we've got Blood and Guts next week, which is probably going to be the closing point of the chapters we've got, which will lead us to what goes on in the future. Well, Kenny Omega has been a big talking point anyway, and of course, he's AEW champion. There seems to be stuff going on with Moxley and as well with Eddie Kingston. Hangman Page seems to be the #1 contender, but he lost this week to Brian Cage. Who would you like to see actually Kenny Omega defend that championship against?
Yeah, that's a hard question, isn't it? Because obviously it's not too clear. I don't know if he'll face John Moxley again, and I think it would be a little awkward if he did face Eddie Kingston, but John Moxley's just there in the background. I know people were saying Christian Cage, maybe they can still build up to that. I think maybe what they've been waiting for is they're waiting to get Blood and Guts out of the way, push that as the focal point of AEW, and then once they've done with that, then they'll start focusing on who's going to face Kenny Omega. I'd like to see Christian Cage, to be honest. I think it's too early for Hangman Page. Obviously, it looks like they're building a long-term story with him. So,
yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the thing is with Hangman Page, I can see it being him, but at the same time, I feel it's like if Page is going to be in this position, every time he gets that bit of momentum, it seems to get taken away from him. And I want him to be the one to beat Kenny Omega, but I don't think it's time yet. I think we need another, maybe even half a year down the line, because especially if the belt collector wants more belts, this could go on further. I mean, you know, he could end up looking like Austin Aries or Ultimate Dragon in a couple of months if Kenny Omega keeps on the rate he's going. But looking at this card, then, I mean, for Kenny Omega, how about like we had like a multi-man match, because we don't really get many of them in AEW. Maybe we could have both Kingston and Moxley at the same time in a freeway.
I've been thinking this for quite a while lately. I don't think AEW have had one triple threat match yet.
No,
in their whole history. Tell me if I'm wrong. I might be incredibly wrong, but
I don't remember it. So this is the thing. If someone does know, let us know in the comments below and point out what we've forgotten, because it's a bit late in the day for the UK timers. So obviously sometimes we will let something slip us by. But the other matches that we could potentially see, I mean, of course, Blood and Guts felt like that was pay-per-view worthy, but I still can see more going on with Chris Jericho and MJF. I don't feel this is the closing chapter.
No, I agree. I think they're definitely going to build to Jericho and MJF. I hope we get FTR versus Santana and Ortiz as well. I think that would be great. They could probably do that tag team match. They have Guevara versus Spears and Hager versus Wardlow. They might just do the Inner Circle versus Pinnacle, but split up. That could make up most of the card.
Absolutely. And I think Young Bucks against SCU actually would probably be a nailed on prediction right now. I think that's probably the safest one, actually, because they've started to build for that this week. I think it's quite clear they win the Fatal 4 next week, because if they lose, they have to break up. It feels like if they're going to break up the Addiction or whatever you want from back in the days, SCU now, they've been tag team partners for a long, long time. It would be a big deal. And AEW would do themselves a favor if they were actually to build this over Dynamite rather than Dark and Elevation over the next few weeks, because I'll be honest, I don't watch either. So for me, it's great they're on a win streak since December, but I ain't seen none of it. So I need to see it on Dynamite. I think that's the place for it. Start putting that rivalry there. Get them as #1 contenders. Yes, we understand the breakup probably will happen at Double or Nothing, but let's make it where it can be as emotional as possible, because these two, they've had a lot of history together, and it will be a big deal when they break up as a tag team. But any more matches before we move on?
Not that I can think of. Obviously, you've got Hikaru Shida. It'll be interesting to see who she'll face. Oh, looking like it's going to be Britt Baker, actually, doesn't it? That's what they're building up to now. She's #1 in the rankings. So I think a lot of people would like to see Britt Baker win the women's title at Double or Nothing. So, yeah, that'd be a great match if that happens.
Absolutely, I would be the same indeed there. And quickly, last one from, it's not our last one, but it's the last one from this week in Metropolis. It's got work in the morning, but he says, what are your thoughts on the new commentary teams in WWE, and who is your favourite commentary team out of all promotions? Wow, now that's a big question there for us. Well, let's quickly just give our thoughts then on the commentary teams. I think for SmackDown, Pat McAfee's fitting very, very well, I must admit, and I think that he has the ability to get out of line if he wants to. But Michael Cole's so experienced, I think he can keep him in check. I can't get involved with Adnan Vic. I'm giving him a chance for a few weeks. I know it's too early to bash someone, but I just think he's a bit out of his depth. And I really hope it turns around for him, but I'm really getting the Mike Adamle phase. I really think Adnan Vic would suit much better as an interviewer backstage. I think he's got the right voice and the right sound, but he just feels a bit awkward on commentary. I just don't know if it's the right place for him in WWE. What are your thoughts on the commentary teams?
Oh, 100% agree with you there. Pat McAfee's doing a great job. I did hear a podcast with him on the other day, and I think he's just been told to just be himself, to be honest. I don't think he's really got Vince in his ear as much. He's just reacting as he normally would. But yeah, I've got to agree with you with Adnan Virk. I think when you're getting the movesets wrong and stuff like that, it just doesn't look good. And it's one of those things where if you're doing that wrong, people aren't going to give you time. But yeah, I think it'd make a good backstage interviewer. So whether they go with that in the future, I don't know. But
you'll have to wait and see. I mean, I just miss Tom Phillips. I just feel that you've got someone that was capable on the desk. I'm not sure why it was taken off, but it's stuff we don't know about, I guess, and maybe we might learn further in time. But if you like Tom Phillips, I was calling Tom O. Phillips, you can find him on 205 Live. It's as easy as that to get your senses mixed up when you're live, I can promise you. But Wrestling Through Life is with us now. For evening, Scott. Hope you're doing very, very well. Another great YouTube channel to go and check out as well. And we did actually RVD playlist not so long ago, actually, so it's worth going and checking that out. It's talking about all our favorite RVD matches. But what's up, lads? I just watched Extreme Rules 2012 and was absolutely fantastic. What's your favorite follow-up WrestleMania pay-per-view, I'm guessing, of all time? So this is a very difficult question here for us. Aaron, does one immediately come to your mind?
I might need a bit of time for this. I'd probably go off the top of my head. I think I actually watched Scott make this video the other day, Backlash 2004, where we had the triple threat between Benoit, Michaels, and Triple H. We had, I think it was Randy Orton versus Mick Foley.
Yeah,
I don't think that was
we did. Yeah, that was the hardcore match, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was a really good follow-up to WrestleMania.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, I'm not very good at thinking off the top of my head with the others, but yeah, that one does stand out.
Well, just to be different, I also like Backlash. I think Backlash is the perfect pay-per-view of WrestleMania. I'm going to go 2007. One of my favorite fatal four-ways of all time was on this show. And now I hope that I've got all the competitors right when I say it. But John Cena, Randy Orton, I believe it was Edge and Shawn Michaels were the other two. Yeah. But it's an incredible fatal four-way. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend to go and check it out. And weirdly enough, another match that sticks in my head is the opener, which is the Hardy Boys against Cade and Murdoch, which, believe it or not, I don't think they get many shout-outs in videos these days. But shout out to Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch. We're a fantastic tag team. I really enjoyed their work back in the day.
Trevor Murdoch's still going, isn't he?
He is. He was recently the national champion in NWA, wasn't he? He just recently lost the belt to Chris Adonis. But I'll go with Backlash 07. I think that it's a bit outside the box. And like yourself, I can't think of everything off the top of my head right now. But it's a great question, Scott. Though we really, really do appreciate that. But hopefully you're satisfied with our answers. Martin Carrera now with us once again now, and now that we get great promos from Lily over the past few weeks on Raw, oh dear, will we see Lily versus The Fiend at WrestleMania 38 in a playground match? That is, I can see the trolling already with this one. Less said about this, the better, I feel.
Surely it wouldn't be Lily versus The Fiend. It would be Lily versus all of The Fiend's puppets or Bray Wyatt's puppets.
I would love that. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Could you imagine what? I'm struggling out to remember. That's the one. Yeah, Rambling Rabbit coming there. God, Rambling Rabbit would get destroyed, wouldn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Poor thing. Don Mills, why do you think we haven't seen Edge since Mania? That's a great question. Well, like a few people, I wonder, I mean, there was rumours of COVID going around, but I can't imagine that being the case because Beth Phoenix is on commentary still on NXT. So I don't know the answer for this one. Maybe Edge is just taking a break after Mania. Maybe he's on a part-time deal. Maybe he's biding his time till the right match or opportunity comes along for him in story terms. What do you feel?
Yeah, I don't know. He might have got injured at WrestleMania. It's sort of been kept in the dark about it, haven't we? But I'm quite surprised we didn't see him come back and start a feud with Daniel Bryan, because obviously Daniel Bryan interrupted his WrestleMania moment with Roman Reigns. So I think that was sort of tailor-made. But yeah, maybe he is on a part-time schedule. I'm not too sure. I honestly thought he would be full-time there every week, but yeah, I guess it was just a waiting game.
Absolutely. Well, I was certain that they were going to continue on with him and Daniel Bryan. I didn't think that that was going to be, and now it looks like we won't get that unless Daniel Bryan is somehow going to manage to remain on SmackDown this week, which I don't think happens unless he wins the Universal Championship, which gives me the great opportunity, now we mentioned that, to put that on the bottom of the screen. Let's ask that question to everybody in the comments. What do you think is going to happen on SmackDown this week? Who's winning between Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan? Will Daniel Bryan leave SmackDown? Be interesting to know the thoughts. Would Edge come back and actually get involved in the match? That could be an idea. Perhaps something I haven't thought of. Something I just thought of there. I'm going to have to thank Dom for that because he's the one with the inspiration with the question there. But yeah, literally, that could be something that could happen, actually. And then that way, Daniel Bryan manages to stay on SmackDown because it's a screwy finish. It could work.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, actually.
No. Well, Roman still needs a challenger for the next pay-per-view. And weirdly enough, Cesaro's not getting that match yet. Maybe they're holding off for the meantime, maybe towards Money in the Bank.
Maybe, yeah.
I have to see. But speaking of Money in the Bank, DWE's with us once again. Any early shouts for Money in the Bank winner this year? What's your thoughts?
I think Jey Uso's been said by a lot of people, hasn't it? I think Jey Uso would be a good shout because obviously they call him main event Jey Uso, but I think he has lost a few matches on SmackDown, so I think he's definitely deserving of quite a big win if you are going to keep him at that level. It would be quite interesting to actually see Jimmy Uso come back. And they put both Usos in the Money of the Bank. I don't know whether he'd be heel or a face, but it'd be interesting to see Jimmy Uso win it and then have Jimmy versus Reigns, maybe. It could be interesting.
Well, I'd like to see that. I mean, you don't want to see mid-card Jimmy when he comes back, do we? We want to see him up at the top with Jay, don't we? So, I mean, I'd be quite down for that personally. But yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. I mean, I think Jey Uso would be a fantastic shout for Money in the Bank, just purely because of the questions that you could ask with him being Money in the Bank to begin with. Has Roman put him up to it? Does Roman get him to go for the Raw Championship? Do they just stick to their own brand? Will Roman take the belt, or will Jey actually turn on Roman and just continue the storyline we had last year? There's so many possibilities. That would be an amazing suggestion. I've actually got a Money in the Bank video dropping in 2 days' time. It's dropping on Saturday. It's who I think should be in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So it's the first shout out I can give to that video now. It's already prepared and in the books. And I didn't give a winner. So let's give one name and let's give a winner for it. I'm going to say Kevin Owens. My reasoning for it is because I think Kevin Owens needs it. KO last year was on that momentum, that big win against Seth Rollins after WrestleMania, but he got injured and he was off TV for a while. And then he was sort of just passing time on Raw, if you want. This year, he's had that big sort of moment at WrestleMania beating Sami Zayn, but mainly because Logan Paul was there as well. I know it wasn't quite the same as Bad Bunny, but Logan Paul getting stunned by KO is a big thing for casual people to see. You can then give him the Money in the Bank. You push him to the Rocket. And KO as well. The Money in the Bank usually suits a heel. With Kevin Owens, he can play face or heel. What's to say Kevin Owens doesn't turn on somebody? It could work down the line. So that would be my shout.
Yeah, I was going to stick to my guns and go with Jimmy, but it might be a bit far-fetched. I would probably think I'd go with Big E. I think I could see them going with Big E. I don't know if it's the best idea, but he did lose the Intercontinental Championship to Apollo, and if they do finish that off at WrestleMania Backlash, if they are going to have a match, I could definitely see Big E in the Money of the Bank, and then finally maybe pushing him to the main event scene.
I have to say it could happen. I mean, it's a great shout then. It seems that a lot of us looked at the idea of SmackDown. It feels like they've got the up-and-comers, the ones that could really push forward with it. So that's good to see. Wrestling Through Life, Pat McAfee has started doing blogs about him on SmackDown. Well worth checking out. That's a really good suggestion. Maybe we should go and do that after we've done this. It'd be definitely a good idea. Thanks for that, Wrestling Through Life. That's definitely a cool suggestion. And our first shout here with the bottom of the screen, we've got with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. I'm excited for Friday. Huge match. Be sad to see if Bryan goes, if he loses. It will be sad to go see him go if he loses because we don't know what will be next for Daniel Bryan. Will we get a farewell at all? Will he go to Raw? Will he go to NXT? Or his contract is coming up, I believe, in September. Will he leave WWE?
Oh, a lot of questions there.
Sorry.
I think there's no, I didn't mean it as in a good way because it's exciting, isn't it? You want to see what he's going to do. But I think the sad thing is he has been saying he wants to go part-time, so this might be leading into him going part-time. I hope not because I love Daniel Bryan. I think everybody likes a bit of Daniel Bryan. But yeah, it would be good to see him go to one of the other brands. I think a lot of people have been saying NXT. I think that's quite unlikely, but that'd be interesting. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the match. I think the match is going to be brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's going to be brilliant as well. I think it's going to be a show stare. I feel SmackDown is can't miss this week. It looks like a really stacked card. Really, really does. Eric Travis is with us in the house. How are you doing, bud? Thank you for checking out the video. And Jamie, the controversial one, Holmes, is in the house as well. And he always got those controversial questions for us. What's he got this time? Do you think Johnny Gargano arranged for those flowers to be sent to Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart from Dexter Loomis to make Indy Hartwell focus on the group? Great question. I'm going to say yes. What are your thoughts, Aaron?
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. Maybe more Indy Hartwell. Not Indy Hartwell, sorry, Candice LeRae. Because obviously they're in a tag team, and what happened last week with Candice LeRae getting beaten up by Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart might have been a way of trying to get Hartwell to focus on the tag team a bit more. Obviously, they got a match for the tag team titles next week in that street fight. So, yeah.
Yeah, it does fit. It does tick the boxes, doesn't it? I think we've cracked the code here, thanks to Aaron. Now I think that it's looking likely. I think Candice LeRae, it does make most sense that she was probably the one involved there. And Jamie does go on to say that do you think that Austin Theory and Indy Hartwell will break from the way after realizing that Johnny Gargano has been manipulating them, at least with the therapist and potentially Indy Hartwell with the flowers? Yeah, because it's interesting, isn't it? Because you argue with the characters with Indy and Austin Theory, particularly Theory, that they're too dumb to realize what's going on. They're kind of being mothered and fathered, but they're kind of like the ones that are doing the whipping job for them. But perhaps at some point, I think it will happen. But I hope they don't split the way for a long time. I really, really enjoy this group. I think it's a lot of fun. How do you find them?
I totally agree. I love them. I think they're really entertaining, especially Austin Theory. I think he's fantastic. His comedic timing is brilliant. Yeah, really impressive.
It's a shout actually for early on. I did a tweet earlier on today, favorite comedic wrestler, and he's someone that should have been actually given more shouts than that, because he's hilarious. He's very good at just playing the real sort of like beefed up bonehead. He does the role extremely well. So shout out to Austin Theory. I think the answer is yes, they will do it eventually, but I'm hoping it's going to be towards the end of this year, because I think these guys do awesome stuff together. Martin Carrillo once again. Do you think Bayley has improved ever since she moved the SmackDown roster, and did it help her? Yes, 100% yes. I mean, she's been arguably the longest SmackDown Women's Champion over such a long reign. She's turned heel. She's had a great character work. She's now back in the picture now against Bianca Belair coming up in the next pay-per-view. It's a shame she's not as more prominent on TV, but I tell you what, Bayley, she's come leaps and bounds. I'm sure you'd agree with me on this.
Yeah, definitely. I honestly think 2020 she was the best wrestler in WWE. I think she carried that company on her back. Obviously, Sasha Banks did her bit as well, but I think Bayley was absolutely fantastic, and she still is. I can't believe she didn't have a match at WrestleMania. Obviously, she was great with her role anyway, but yeah, she's improved absolutely 100%.
Leaps and bounds, absolutely indeed there. And we've got a few more comments coming flying in for us. And DWE has got one in for us now. He says Brian will never leave WWE, especially after they gave him the main event of Mania this year. If he goes part-time, NXT will be fun. Well, let's see what happens. I mean, I always say never, but I would like to think Daniel Bryan wouldn't leave WWE. And there's so many more dream matches to see him in WWE. I'm not ready for it yet.
Oh, me either. And I think he has said before, I think he said a few names that he hasn't wrestled yet. I think he said he wants to do a program with Nakamura, whether that would happen. I think he wants to do one with Riddle, a couple of guys down in NXT. So, yeah, I can't see him leaving WWE.
No, I hope not either. And particularly for me, Johnny Gargano, we just mentioned a couple of minutes ago, that feels like a dream match to me. Put on a takeover and just give him 45 minutes. Why not? I'd be down for it. I think it'd be absolutely amazing. Yeah. That'd be amazing. Jeff Samuel, thank you, Jeff, for coming into the stream. Hope you're doing well. It says, how do I feel about Jason Jordan on producing role? How do you feel about the possibility of the swerve of Daniel Bryan losing, but a heel turn on Cesaro and join Roman as a henchman for Heyman to keep Bryan? That's an interesting idea, that Daniel Bryan could turn on Cesaro. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, could be. It'd be interesting. It's something we haven't really. I mean, we have seen Daniel Bryan turn heel, but yeah, it'd be something new to see with him joining up. So, yeah,
It's It's interesting. It's exciting. We'll give you that, Jeff. I don't think you ever predicted it when we spoke about it throughout this video, but if it does happen, I think first off, massive pat on the back for you for that because that'll be a great shout. Number two, fresh and exciting. And I think as
Shock
long
them
as
all.
something's fresh, yeah, the shock, the fresh, the excitement, the need to know what happens next week. If WWE does things like that, I'm always in. So I think it's a great
Yep.
suggestion, Jeff. I'm going to throw it out there now. I think awesome. And he's not alone there. He's got another one for us now. He's asking how we feel about the Diamond Mine stable and do you think it'll be could it be Malcolm Bivens and Tyler Rust repackage from an MMA stable? Now, of course, we talked about our feelings on this a bit earlier in the video, but we didn't talk about Malcolm Bivens and Tyler Rust. That's another interesting shout there because, I mean, those two have been missing off TV recently.
Yeah, they have, haven't they? Yeah, I didn't really notice that. I do. Yeah, I think Malcolm Bivens is quite a good manager. He's a great talker. And obviously, I think a lot of people are sort of wondering where Tyler Rust sort of fits into the whole landscape of NXT. So putting him in a stable with Bivens as the manager could be a good idea. I'm
Yeah,
not
I think
sure
it could work.
he's got a good MMA background, but
Yeah, we'll have to see how it'll play out, really, because I mean, we stuck. It was said earlier on, potentially could be an MMA style ring, like you said there, potentially like a repackage or underground. We also suggested the idea of a stable, perhaps someone like Parker Bordeaux. I said as well, Chad Stevenson, Rick Steiner's son. We even talked about Tessa Blanchard. So there's lots of potential ideas flying around. We'll have to see how it's going to play out. But one thing we both got from this, Jeff, we were both excited about it. That's one thing we would say from NXT this week. Eric Travis there, as says, how has our day been? It's been very good, thank you. It's even better having you guys here with us in the stream. We'll have to say about that. But how do we feel about the Rebellion pay-per-view and who do you think is going to be challenging Omega next? He says Moose there. We have touched on that question already during this, but we'll give it a quick answer. You did suggest Moose potentially earlier on, didn't you?
Yep. Yeah, Moose or Sammy Callahan, or we did say earlier maybe Trey Miguel as a one-off. So
yeah, those were some of the suggestions we gave. And who would we like to see Diana face? And do we like the idea of Havoc? Well, Havoc hasn't been in the main event picture for a while. It'd be something different. Be fun to see. The size of Havoc as well is sort of a different opponent to what we've seen against Deonna Purrazzo in the meantime. But I wouldn't get to see a Queen's Gambit, would I? So that's my only negative side of it. I do love that new finisher from Deonna Purrazzo. I'm a big fan of Deonna Purrazzo. Are you the same, Aaron?
brilliant. Yeah, I think she's one of the best women's wrestlers in the world at the minute, if I'm honest with you.
I have to agree.
She's really good. She's a really great technician, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. Diana, if you're watching, we absolutely think you're amazing. We do. We love your work and keep it up, honestly. And also, join Decay with Rosemary would be the idea for Havoc. I think that was a continue on for the question there. So do I like the idea of Havoc joining Decay? Now, that's interesting because Havoc was involved with the Sinister Minister, James Mitchell, previously in Impact. So some connection with that could be interesting. Rosemary and Havoc going for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. Could be a way to put Nevaeh back in her place. There's some ideas for it.
I could see it happening.
Absolutely, indeed. The Titantron is with us in the house there. Hi, Titantron. I hope you're doing well. It says, hi, guys. How are you feeling about Cody Rhodes' return yesterday and his feud with QT Marshall? I'm not a huge fan, personally. I never liked Cody, and QT isn't anything special. If I don't mind, I'll take this one first, if you don't mind, Aaron. I wasn't a big fan of QT Marshall either. I've been a fan of Cody, particularly since he left WWE. And I must admit, I didn't think this would be for me. But I am kind of enjoying where it's going, I must admit. I did feel that it was slightly predictable this week with Cody being in the bus, but at the same time, I thought it was done very effectively. And I quite like the idea of that, mainly because I'm not the biggest QT fan, but I like what it's representing, the factory. I'm liking we've got this new up-and-coming stable with these young guns, you know, with a Go-Go. We've got that Nick, I can't remember his last name for the life of me. I always say I'll remember it when I come on a video. That's the one, yeah. He's kind of got that Bruiser Brody look for me.
Yeah, he does,
I like. He's kind of got something special about him as well. So I like what that represents. And it's an interesting feud to see. But we've got the match coming next week. So I wonder if it could be one and done. We'll have to wait and see. Or is it going to be more gang warfare going on in AEW as we usually expect? But Aaron, I need your thoughts on this situation. What do you think about this feud?
Yeah, I think that is the natural match to have with Cody versus QT because obviously they are the figureheads of both groups. But I think what I'd like to see after this is put more emphasis on the factions. I think I'm not really a massive fan of Marshall either, but I think he's a great talker in the promos that he has done with Go and Solo and Comoroto. I like all three of them guys. So I quite like this feud. Yeah, it's putting a lot of emphasis on the younger guys in the group. Obviously, the Gun Club came out. I think they're
Mm.
a pretty good up and coming tag team. Lee Johnson's really great, so yeah, I don't mind it personally.
Absolutely, indeed. There, and just to quickly say to our people watching right now, we're giving you a 10-minute warning. So we're in the final 10 minutes of the stream. So if you've got questions, it's a good opportunity now to get them in and put them in the comments below. So we make sure that we do answer everything before we come off the stream for you today. But we've got a few questions still in, so we're not going anywhere just yet. Don't you panic. Martin Carrera with us now. It says, "Do you guys think Mia Yim will come back on SmackDown, or is it Reckoning once again? And is she a good addition to SmackDown? And what's going to be her first feud?" Aaron, take it away, my friend.
I think she will actually come back as Mia Yim, because I think she has been on the main roster before as Mia Yim. I think she had a match against Charlotte, so I think people know who she is. As for coming back on SmackDown in her first match, I don't think it would be against any of the main three, sort of your Bianca, Sasha, and Bailey. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who she'll go up against. I'm not too sure.
I guess someone they probably will look to build her up if she was going to become a future challenger. Maybe someone like Carmella or someone like that. Maybe could be a shout.
Carmella's actually a perfect shout. But
Yeah,
then
unless
I suppose with Carmella, because she was built in with that new character, wasn't she? And then she sort of lost all of her 3 matches to Sasha. So it'd be a shame to sort of see her keep losing. But I think she would be a good first opponent for Mia Yim.
Yeah, I think so indeed as well. See Pete Styles. Oh, just to actually go on that last question, I do think it'll be Miriam as well. I don't think Reckoning is coming back now. I think we can close the door safely on that chapter. But CP Styles, what do you think to the $1 Million Man on NXT and where the storyline is going? I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was a great cameo of him coming back. It was brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, they need to keep doing this each and every week. Cameron Grimes needs to do something to feel like he's outshining the $1 Million Man and be outshined each and every time. Keep it going as long as you can. And when it comes to a takeover, we can find perhaps maybe Ted DiBiase finds a superstar, the best that money can buy, and we get a brand new NXT superstar debuting on behalf of the $1 Million Man on takeover against Cameron Grimes. Would you be a fan of that idea?
Yeah, I think I'd be a fan of that idea, definitely. I've also seen a couple of rumours saying he could actually be the manager of Cameron Grimes after a little while. So he's like his protege in a way, so that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, either that or bringing in a new superstar to feud with Cameron Grimes. Yeah, it would be great.
I would love that. And just because of the fact that I love a bit of nostalgia, why not Ted DiBiase Jr. just come back for one more match? I think that'd be awesome to see. But I know he's been done with wrestling for a long time. But hey, one can dream, can't they? Randy Sam is in the comments. Randy, how you doing? It says, saying to us, how do we feel about Big E versus Apollo Crews? And Crews wins, but Murphy's music hits, faces Crews at the pay-per-view Backlash. And then we get Owens versus Sami, and a loser leaves SmackDown last man standing match or falls. Quite a number of questions there for us. Let's dive straight into that. Then Big E versus Apollo, but then if Apollo wins tomorrow, then Murphy's music hits, and we get them against each other at Backlash. Would you be a fan of that, bringing Buddy Murphy back onto TV against Crews?
Yeah, I'm all for it. I think Murphy's a brilliant wrestler, so I'd love to see him in a storyline. With Big E and Apollo, I don't think they've really had. Obviously, they've had a couple of matches, but I don't think either of them have really hit their heights. And I think that's got massive potential to be a great match. So maybe I'd like to see them have a match at Backlash, and then I'd be all for bringing Murphy in after that for sure.
Absolutely, indeed. I certainly want at least one Big E Apollo to hit your top 5 list before that feud ends, I'll tell you. But
I've been waiting for it.
Yeah. And Owens versus Sami Zayn, and the loser leaves what would be SmackDown, last man standing, or some sort of falls like that. I think that'd be quite awesome to watch. How would you find that?
Yeah, that would be great to watch. And I wouldn't be surprised if they put a last man standing stipulation on Owens versus Sami. I think that view just calls for it, to be honest. Yeah, maybe one of them leaves Raw or SmackDown. Sorry, could be Sami Zayn.
Absolutely, indeed. Yeah, could be. We'll have to wait and see how it's going to play out. That's for sure.
Probably work with his character, to be honest.
It would work better. Hey, we give him a chance to get a new documentary team on Raw, wouldn't it? Maybe you could get some superstars, form a stable, something like that. It's a shame we've lost some of the catering crew with the releases, but that'd be a way to get them on TV. Last question from Jeff. He says to Aaron, who's your favourite wrestler in AEW? Top 5 or top 4 he's put there. And can we sign Aaron to a contract? This will be awesome. You two guys for next week seems really cool. Well, we're really enjoying doing this. It's the first time we're doing a collaboration together. I'm sure there'll be many more in the future. And that'll be awesome. But yeah, Aaron, who's your favorite AEW wrestler then?
I've got two because it's a tag team. FTR.
Nice.
I am
Yeah,
a massive
fantastic.
fan of FTR. I love their revival days. I just think when you look at all of the tag teams at the minute, I just think they're head and shoulders above everyone else. I love their psychology. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta be FTR.
Yeah, FTR is a great shout indeed. As you said, top four. Can you think of one or two more just to round off his top four?
Um, Darby Allen. I like Darby Allen. I think he's great. MJF, like for a guy who's 25 years old, he is better than most people in the world, to be honest, whether it's on the mic and I think he's quite underrated in the ring as well. And
Mm.
my favourite wrestler of all time is Chris Jericho, so got to go with Chris Jericho.
You got to have a bit of the bubbly. Honestly, it's a letdown if we don't, isn't it? You know, DWE. We keep things AEW. What do you think AEW needs to do to get the mainstream on board with the product? That's a very interesting question. I mean, they're doing great stuff with like bringing in celebrities. I mean, Snoop Dogg's been there, Mike Tyson, but you could argue maybe they could get someone. I mean, those guys have been around, since the 90s. It would be good if we could get someone really up and current now. I think that would be something that would really help. But I mean, even when they had Shaq in, they got a lot of viewers in for that. So, I mean, celebrity does well for it. And I suppose the other thing they can do is just sign, if they do sign big. That's probably what they need to do from this point, and use the Forbidden Door to their advantage, I'd say, which I think they are doing to this point. I could even argue that maybe they're using it more to their advantage than to other people's. But maybe we could turn around and say that that's incorrect with Kenny Omega now being the Impact champion. But that's a different topic for a different day, I guess. But what would you say about this, Aaron?
It's a bit of a long shot, but I think one thing that could just shoot them to the moon is if they do sign CM Punk. I've heard a couple of people say that Tony Khan might actually have him, but they're going to wait till fans, obviously. I think Punk has said a few times he needs a good story to get into, and I couldn't really see Punk coming back whilst we're still in the COVID era. Yeah, I think if AEW signs CM Punk, I think they'd be able to compete with WWE, no doubt about it. I think that because it's such a massive return, I think that would also put them in the mainstream as well. So
yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly, because I mean, take away WWE backstage, that doesn't count. I mean, literally, it was on Fox at like near enough midnight when he came back as a big surprise, and I wouldn't put much into that. And when Punk was on there, the ratings went up, so that's one thing you always take from that. But looking with AEW, I think it'd be amazing. I think that is sort of like when you say sign big, that's a big time signing to make. And you imagine CM Punk versus Kenny Omega or against John Moxley, those sort of names. I mean, that would sell out a pay-per-view with ease. So yeah, I think that's a fantastic shout if it can be done. And like you say, it comes down to the idea of when we get fans back, and pretty much that sort of sign. So Aaron, there's another question coming for you here. If you was GM, what would you do with Slapjack, aka Shane Thorne, and what would you do with T-Bar and Mace if you was GM too? So basically, Aaron, what would you do with the Thorne Retribution members? How would you fix them?
Oh, I would. Well, definitely, I'd take the masks off them, take the face paints off them, give them back their original names, so Shane Thorne can be Shane Thorne. And you've definitely got to make T-Bar back to Dijakovic. I think he's probably actually one of those guys that you could actually shorten his name just to Dijakovic. I think it sounds okay. As for Mace, I think I do agree with some people where they say his wrestling ability is maybe not up to scratch. So, and Shane Thorne, I'm not sure how over he would get on the main roster. I don't think he's one of those guys where Vince would see a lot in him. So I would definitely keep Dijakovic on the main roster. He's got the look, hasn't he? He's got the size that Vince always likes. But I'd probably maybe bring Shane Thorne and Dia Madam back down to NXT, perhaps. Whether Shane Thorne could be in the cruiserweight division, I don't know. He might be a good name for that. And Dia Madden, he's quite a big guy, and he's got a great look as well. So whether they could push him on NXT, hone his craft a little bit better, and then bring him up to the main roster. But
yeah, I like it. I'll give you one more question just while we got it quickly. If you were actually a GM of a show, would you actually draft them?
yeah, as long as you can get back their original characters.
Yeah, there you go. That's the key there for you. But thanks for your question, Jason. Awesome. And he's got another one for us. And this one I think is for both of us. How would you fix Raw, in your opinion, with Aaron next week? Will be dope. I want to hear Aaron's ideas too. Well, Aaron, let's get your ideas. And how would you fix Monday Night Raw?
Take off that third hour. bring it down to 2 hours, definitely. I think because there's too many. It's just too much filler, to be honest. I think when you look at NXT or AEW, they fill up most of the 2 hour slots with wrestling. So, and I think that's what Raw needs. You know, SmackDown had 3 matches the other day, which all went over 10 minutes, I think. And on Raw, you only really get 1 or 2 that do go over that 10-minute mark. So it would be great to see more of the wrestlers get more time to do what they do. And I think with the stories, a lot of people are saying they are for a lower age group. So I think at the end of the day, you got to make it so it's more catered to the older generation, if you know what I mean.
I do indeed. I think you're bang on the money with both of those. Those are the 2 biggest things that I think would make a huge difference overnight. I mean, you can take a Raw show and you take the worst hour out of the show and you put that on SmackDown. And I'm pretty sure everyone would tell me say they prefer Raw to SmackDown, regardless of the fact of what's going on. And if they can keep a good narrative storyline going through the start, middle, and end of the show, I think that always helps each week as well, which is harder to do with 3 hours. It's a lot easier to do, like with Roman on a 2 hour SmackDown. So I think you're perfect on with the hours there. We've got 4 more questions. So thanks for everyone that's thrown the questions in. So we'll do those 4 and then we'll be coming off. And it's been a great stream. We're already over an hour in, which is time flies when you're having fun, I can tell you. And Marty Career asks, maybe Daniel Bryan leaving and going to Raw will set up a trade and returning Keith Lee on SmackDown with me and Yim. I'd love that. Wow, that's a great idea. What do you feel?
Yeah, I'd love that too. As we say, SmackDown is the better show at the minute. And if it's got Keith Lee on it, that would be great to see. Maybe, you know, they could obviously build Keith Lee up, hopefully, to face Roman Reigns, perhaps. He's got that potential, hasn't he? And with Daniel Bryan going to Raw, I think he could only improve the show, to be honest. I know it's got a lot of problems, but Daniel Bryan is one of the best guys they've got there. So, I'd love it.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you wholeheartedly on that one. I think you're bang on the money there. I'd love to see it. We could bask in the glory if we get Keith Lee versus Roman Reigns. But Randy Sam, do you think AEW needs to sign Jim Johnson? Aaron, he's asking there. And also SCW, because the music makes the wrestler feel important. The spotlight, I think, would fit AEW perfect. And WWE needs them bad. Well, I miss Jim Johnson. I thought his music was epic back in the day, I would say. I used to love the stuff he put together. And particularly in the Attitude Era, I must admit I'm guilty of half of the ball. Probably most of the CDs that were released. What were your thoughts with Jim Johnson back in the day? Was you a big fan of his work?
Oh yeah, loved it. To be honest, a lot of his songs are on my Spotify. So
there you go.
I love a lot of his songs. They're just iconic, aren't they? I think that is one of the biggest problems with WWE's entrances these days. You know, look what they've done to like Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole's. I think people have a lot of problem there. A lot of it just sounds generic, doesn't it? So if AEW signs Jim Johnson, it's a win.
It is a win. It is a win all day long. And I agree, WWE probably needs them at this point as well. She mentioned there with Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole. I think it would go down well all around. But a couple more questions come flying in. We will try and just take those last couple then just before we come off. And this one I think is going to be definitely for you here, Aaron. Does casual fans really care about some big New Japan guy coming in that's so good regarded the Forbidden Door? It's great for hardcore fans, but maybe not such for newcomers and casuals. What are your thoughts on Yuji Nagata coming over to AEW in a couple of weeks?
I think it's okay, but I think the problem is when they brought Kenta in, I think they didn't really have any video packages to really show you what he was about. So I think it's okay that you're bringing Nagata into AEW, but at least do like a 3-4 minute package just to let us know who Nagata is, to make us care about it. Perhaps just give us some background information. But I can definitely see where Dan's coming from. You know, why should people really care about the match if they don't know who Nagata is? So.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, Yuji Nagata was heavily featured on WCW back in the Monday Night Wars, particularly around 97, 98. I mean, I haven't gone much further at the moment than 98, which I'm going through the recaps at the moment. But it takes a while with Nitro and Thunder to get through those. But it's basically like another Raw and SmackDown added on your week each week. But yeah, I mean, looking at Yuji Nagata, he was a great guy in ring. Of course, he's still going today. For people that do watch New Japan, we'll see what his effort is. He is good in the ring. But yeah, it would be good to see. It would be good to see, like you say, that a video package, something to give people to care about. And I think they should have even done something this week, just to, you know, you're announcing that match, because, like you say, for someone like Dan, it says, "What do I care?" And it's like, well, if it had a couple of just a moments to see why he should care, then maybe you'd feel more hyped up for it. So no, it's a great question, that one. I think maybe some sort of video package next week would go down really, really well. Martin Carrillo, Moose warned Rich Swann about losing that title versus title match. What is Moose going to do to Rich Swann tonight? Destroy him. I think that's probably in the quickest, most term possible. Destroy him. I think that we could get a revisit of that feud. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I think that's probably the next feud going in. That might be the feud going into Slammiversary, Moose and Rich Swann. But yeah, I think Rich Swann's in trouble tonight. Maybe not just by Moose, maybe by half that roster, because they didn't sound too pleased about it. So
they need to do something like that, though. They need to. I mean, perhaps not say like shame on you, Rich Swann, but it's like they need to make it feel important. They've lost their championship to another company. Another guy has come and won their belt. It needs to be made a big deal of. In my opinion, they need to also go and invade AEW. I think it's the only way around this from this point onwards. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to Impact Wrestling just for that moment alone. So I mean, if anything, they're doing something right, aren't they, at the moment? So it's interesting to see. More questions are still flying in. We're not able to get off just yet, Aaron. We've got 3 more. These will be the last 3, though, for us tonight. But thank you so much, everyone. You've all been getting involved. Lots of great questions. We've really thoroughly enjoyed it. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have as well. And like I said, trying to do this now each and every week. SCW Live will be coming on. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to do. So really appreciate everyone that is on board. But Danny Barron with us now. It says, do we see Jimmy Uso returning tomorrow night, or do we save him to win Money in the Bank? Something you were speaking about earlier on, Aaron. How do you feel about RK Bro?
Yep. I love RK Bro. I think that's one of the highlights of Raw. It's just such a great contrast, isn't it? I think a lot of people are fans of Pete Dunne and Riddle with their team up. Randy Orton and Riddle could be even better, to be honest. It's just like I said, just a great contrast of characters. So it'd be great to see what they can do. Yeah, with Jimmy Uso, like I said, it would be interesting to see him maybe win Money in the Bank. Maybe if he comes back tomorrow or in the near future. I think he is fit. I think he is ready to go, isn't he? So
apparently so. I mean, there was a rumor going around a few weeks ago that he was going to return on SmackDown, and then it got pulled. So nothing really came of it at that point. So it'd be interesting to see when they do bring him in. But Money in the Bank could be interesting. Maybe even Jimmy versus Jay could even work. There could be, that conflict if he comes as a babyface. You've turned on what your values are, and maybe Jimmy has to join the family as well if he loses the match. They could have all sorts of fun with it if they were to do it and how they want to do it. So I'm interested to see how they will do it. And I agree with you, RK Bro. Great comparison as well with the idea with the Riddle and Pete Dunne there before. I think it could be even more fun with Randy Orton. He knows how to play that sort of role perfectly. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to play out. Which female superstars from Raw should go to SmackDown to improve their women's division? Interesting question there from Noob and Co. What do you feel, Aaron?
I probably actually think it could go the other way, because I think SmackDown are slightly better at the minute. You've got Bayley and Sasha and Sasha, Bayley and Bianca. So I could maybe see Bayley go into Raw. Perhaps I think she could do a lot over there. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. With obviously all of the women's tag teams, I kind of struggle to realise what brand they're on. So
it's easily done with Nia and Shayna.
Yeah, God. But yeah, Bayley would be a great show, I think.
Yeah, Bayley would be a great show going to Raw. For me, I'd say for SmackDown, Nikki Cross. I mean, I say it every video, as I say, Nikki Cross would be. She's lost in the shuffle. Yeah, she would be amazing to go on SmackDown right now, and she could be a great challenger against someone like going against Sasha Banks, then trying to go for the championship against Bianca Belair would be quite fun to see. We've got from Curtis John. Thank you, Curtis. I'm grateful for wrestling to still be here, even though the storyline is bad, terrible, but I still enjoy a fun match to take my mind off the world. Aaron, do you watch Impact?
Yep, I watch Impact.
Yeah, we're both. It is a good show. We both enjoy Impact, and I must admit, it's a great point made from Curtis there. It's very nice to see that people get such enjoyment from wrestling, even if the storyline's bad. You're right. We're in a pandemic. So many things were shut down. So many things were stopped. Not everyone's able to do everything, and the fact is, we still have professional wrestling for the whole year. Are we spoiled?
Yeah, definitely. I think we're lucky. A lot of other sports have stopped, haven't they? So it's great that wrestling has just kept on going. I know a lot of the smaller companies have not been able to put on shows, but at least with Impact and AEW, Ring of Honor, WWE, yeah, it's been great. I think we're very spoiled.
We have been very sport, and we're very grateful for it as well. So great comment, Curtis. Thank you for that comment. And last two questions for us now. This is the actual last two questions. It says, no, thanks. That's it for me, guys. Hopefully we get some good wrestling before the weekend hits. Good night. Thank you, Martin Carrillo. It's great to have you involved in this. And I think SmackDown will definitely give us a couple of great matches before the weekend. I've got a good feeling on that one. Eric Travis, last one, SCW. How do you feel about Sonya as Charlotte's manager? Is it a good idea to make Adam bring in maybe Becky to challenge her, or Sonya turn face and challenge Charlotte at SummerSlam? Well, there's a lot of ideas put on the table there, but I like the idea of Sonya and Charlotte being a partnership there. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'd be up for that. I think there'd be some quite good chemistry with that, actually. Even maybe if Sonya isn't the manager, but she's still in her GM role, but she just shows a lot of bias towards Charlotte, maybe that could work. But yeah, with Becky coming in, that could make for a great story. So
that could indeed. And I will just say very quickly, it's another great excuse to make a plug. I've got a video dropping tomorrow at Fantasy Booking, Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, how that storyline should play out. So the idea you said that Adam bringing someone in, I think is a very good suggestion. I like where you're going with that, and definitely plays into the video that I'm dropping tomorrow. So please keep an eye out on the channel for when that drops. Hopefully UK time will be around sort of late afternoon. Obviously probably will be early afternoon if you're in the States side. And he does also says, thanks Aaron and SCW for a good time. Thank you for your questions. I really do appreciate it. And Noob and Co saying, throw Oscar to SmackDown, add some entertainment value for the Blue brand because she'll do great things on SmackDown on Fox. I agree, and it'll be a fresh start for her as well. Maybe just not break off TV. Maybe actually that's what Oscar needs. Maybe a change to SmackDown. That could be what could work. But that's all our questions anyway. And thank you so much for everyone that's been getting involved. We really do appreciate it. And just before we go, Wrestling by Waldridge, Aaron, please tell everybody about your channel one more time and where they can find you on YouTube. And I promise to leave the details in the description for everyone to go and find you.
Yeah, so you can find me on Wrestling by Waldridge. That's the title. I mainly focus on match analysis. So every Sunday, I drop the top 5 matches of the week where I cover Impact, WWE, AEW. I also review New Japan shows. So we've got Wrestling Dontaku coming up next week. So I'll be doing a review of that one. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some great stuff indeed. It's a really good content. And like you say, that sort of analysis that you put there, really attention to detail, it's fantastic. Like I say, if you haven't gone to the channel already, go and check it out. Honestly, there's some fantastic matches. Sometimes you've not seen a match that he's actually mentioned and you sit and go, I need to go and check that out. You go and watch it. And sometimes the mind is just blown by thinking, why did I not watch that myself beforehand? So it's always great to make sure to go and check out Aaron's channel. It is absolutely fantastic. And hopefully, I hope that everyone does go and check it out, because honestly, it would not be a waste of 10 minutes of your day if you went and did so and went to watch one of your videos. But that's all from us anyway. Aaron, thank you so much for coming on the channel. It's been amazing to have you here. Hope you've enjoyed being here on the channel.
Yeah, I've absolutely loved it. Really appreciating you having me on the show. I'm a massive fan of your channel. I watch every video you make. So yeah, it's been brilliant.
Awesome. Thank you. It's very kind of you to say. And like I say, hopefully we can collab again sometime in the very near future. Once again, it'd be great to have you back on the channel. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and hope everyone that's been watching this has been enjoying it, had a lot of fun as well. Thanks everyone for your questions. Thanks all for being involved. This has been SCW Live. It is a Thursday evening where we are. And now we look like we're probably going to go off and do what Wrestling Through Life suggested and go and find some of Pat McAfee's blogs. I think that's what we're going to go off and do now. But take care. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next